Welcome back everyone, and today I have another Deltarune video, but as you might have already seen in the thumbnail and the video title, it's not actually a theory, or well, the majority of it isn't, and instead I have a question that I want us as a community, the Deltarune community, to solve. The question in question is, why does Kris seem to hate Tenna in the SWAT route? Okay, so in case you need a refresher, because this is not something that I've in being talked about much, in the SWAT route, better known as the Shadow Mental Quest line, if you complete it, if you complete this SWAT route, uh, Kris does more damage to Tenna in the boss battle, and if you don't complete this SWAT route, Kris does less damage to Tenna in the boss fight. So what gives? And no, before you go into the comment section and just type, oh, it has something to do with the pink Tenna sprite, Tenna kind of implies that we work, Kris works with the knight, so they're mad at him for, revealing that. Well, I have two counter evidences to that. One, I am very sure that they don't give a damn about whether or not we know, oh, that they are working for the night. They intentionally hold back against the night to a noticeable degree. So, and you know, some of Tenna's normal dialogue already implies that Kris is working with the night. And not to mention, they literally open the fountain in front of us. If they are trying to make it so that if they're trying to make sure that we are not suspicious of them, they are doing a very bad job at it. And two, and I am, for this one I had to do put some effort into it. I had to load a safeware and all of that. I went into the game, I did the, in this sword route, has three levels kind of, the last one being the one where you fight against Eram and all of that. I went into that. I did the entire SWAT route up until the Tenna sprite. I killed this Tenna sprite. I then went and lost to Eram, and then I fought Tenna, and Kris's damage was still down instead of increasing. It only increased after I had defeated Eram, and as such, the most likely answer is that Eram's dialogue before and or after the battle, because if you lose to Eram, the save file gets loaded back to before the boss fight. So presumably, every time we lose to Eram in game, the Kris actually has to listen to that beginning monologue Eram has every time. But the save gets loaded back to what appears to be inside the bunker. So Kris doesn't have to go through the entire third level every time they have to fight Eram. So again, the pink Tenna sprays definitely does not have anything to do with that, the damage increase. So yeah, I tested all of this, and yeah, my conclusion is Eram, or something that Eram says more specifically is what causes Kris to increase their damage, which I find really odd, by the way, because most of the time Eram speaks to Kris regarding this. The dialogue where they say Kris is enjoying this, the question and all of that. That most definitely is actually meant to be like that's most likely meant to be conveyed to us, the player, instead of Kris. Like, we can verifiably confirm that, like, I think we can all agree that Kris definitely does not isn't the one enjoying this quest line at all. They visibly flinch when in this very round where we have to kill the Ralsei and Susie sprites just to be able to access the levels. Like Kris is not enjoying this at all. So you know and but the ending dialogue actually does seem to be directly actually directed at Kris, because it mentions the flickering flames, the and all of that stuff like that. And the thing about what is that again, yeah, right, the without play the sword grows dull. That obviously seems to be actually directed to Chris, because it's their eyes that are actually red and all of that, the flame and all, you get what I mean. So that specific dialogue, the one that is actually directed at Chris, is likely the one that is what triggered them to that. And without play the sword grows dull, that encourages violence. And you might be able to argue that that's why um, Chris attacks, I mean, does more damage when we attack Tenna, because like the attacking part is like still to us, like we actually remember we still need to it we are the ones who still have to choose the attack button in order for Chris to actually do any of that. But like, you know what I mean? Like that's really odd, because you would, if anything, you would expect Chris to try and rebel against us after this route. Like it would make sense if, for them to like reduce their damage. Why are they like increasing their damage instead? That doesn't seem to make much sense. But I do have a currently working theory, so like I'm going to share that right now. My theory is that basically Chris is using Tenna as a test dummy for when they have to actually hurt someone they care about. And in case that sounds weird without context, yeah, it sounds very weird without context. The my what I mean is that currently Chris is in a position where they have to at some point probably betray Ralsei and Susie at some point, or maybe even betray the knight. Point is, and also like they seem to care about the knight, because they reduce the damage against the knight and all of that. So TLDR is, at some point, either way they are going to have to betray someone they care about, and probably hurt them in the process. So they're using it in this battle. When we give them the chance to attack, they're using Tenna as a test dummy for like practicing that. Because again, like Chris does seem to care about Tenna, because they reduce the damage against him and all of that. And in the normal route, they the non by normal I mean the non-sword route, they are unable to go through with that plan, because like they actually do care somewhat about Tenna. Either that, or they don't want to attack Tenna because they are working for the knight. But that argument doesn't hold up too much, but because literally every other enemy is working for the knight too. Like all the 3 chapters, all enemies are working with the knight, but either directly or by proxy. So this has to do with something with Tenna itself. So Chris probably cares about them, because he symbolizes something. That he symbolizes the period of time in their life that they miss. And so anyway, back to the theory. In the normal route, they are unable to go through with this plan of using Tenna as the test dummy to practice betrayal basically. But they are unable to go through with it, because they just cannot bring themselves to hurt Tenna. But in this sword route, because this what route involves, murder, of the monsters and all of that. The in-game monsters, by the way, it does not actually involve any actual murder. And because Eram's dialogue specifically mentions, the without play this what grows dull and all of that, that somehow motivates Kris into being, detach themselves from their emotions enough that they bring themselves to hurt Tenna. And yes, what I did describe is basically just similar to LV in Undertale. The Sans describes it in a similar way where the more of LV and XP you get, the more you are able to bring yourself to hurt others. Basically, so the sword rate might like figuratively give Kris enough LV to, like, mentally at least give them enough LV that they're willing to hurt Tenna in this case, so that they can practice their betrayal. Basically, I know this theory is basically like half baked, but like it's the best I got. Again, we definitely don't have all the pieces as about Kris's motivation and all of that. So definitely there are going to be holes regardless of what theory you present, like regarding this. So yeah, uh, that's my theory. But again, this video is like basically supposed to be a question to all of you, and I did my best to try and present the information that I think is relevant to this, so that you can form your own opinion regarding this. That's the whole reason I'm making this video. So again, if you have a better theory, and again, with how half baked my theory is, any theory is probably going to be better than this. So like if you come up with just any theory, just post in the comments, or like uh, on Reddit, because I'm probably going to post this video on Reddit. So I mean, so like just please come up with your own theory, because this is like a very interesting thing that I have not seen being talked about much. So anyway, with that, thank you for watching, and bye for now.